Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bow Hunter Chronicles Podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. So this podcast today is going to be one like I've not done in a while, a solo cast, kind of in the style of Byron Horton, Jake Downs. And if you haven't listened to Jake's debacle with his muskox hunt, really okay, so not safe for work, and his podcast is called Earn Your Hunt, but I just finished that up today. It's like a 2-part series, but kind of like I wouldn't say like a cautionary tale about using guides, but just some things about like those types of hunts, like hunting in the Arctic. Like I know Greg Litzinger, he wants to do a muskox hunt for his 50th birthday. And Jake, basically in true Jake fashion, the hunt was unremarkable, got a muskox, but he had a guaranteed 100% 4-day muskox hunt, and he was basically trapped in the Arctic for almost 2 weeks. So definitely worth the listen, but Jake just does these solo podcasts, so just thought I would mention that for guys who haven't listened or whatever. I'm going to go through some things here about what's been going on lately and kind of what we've got coming up with TAC, all that stuff. Let me find my page here. There we go. So just got back from the UP and did some turkey hunting up there, and that trip, so usually we go up and do food plots, and William Ritchie had got a hold of me and asked if I wanted to go up there and do some turkey hunting in the UP, and didn't really ever consider it. And he was just talking about, the tag is good for the entire season for the UP. So I did a little bit of digging, and it was actually the 234 hunt actually carried over to the UP. So I did buy that tag and kind of waited. Did a little bit of turkey hunting around here, got some birds going. I think I was moving around too much. Couldn't close the deal. Went up there to do the food plots. Didn't end up going on this adventure with William because I had to get the food plot stuff done, and that's where my cousin was going to be up there to do that. So my dad and I went up there, just a mess out of the gate. I had built some deer feeders to bring up there for the kids for the hunt after Thanksgiving. So on our property, for guys that hunt, not really a big deal to find deer, to go to places, but we've got all these shacks, and over the years they've been abandoned or dilapidated, or energy's been put into different areas, and it's not always the greatest hunting for the kids. So I wanted something. These kids age and range from my daughter being the youngest 9 and the oldest being like 13. So in that range, wanted to keep them engaged, wanted to keep them hunting. We're doing our food plots, we're doing all of that stuff, but just to kind of supplement and kind of increase the odds in some of these spots where it is legal up in the UP to do some baiting, built some feeders. Well, one of those was coming off the trailer on the way up there, pull over, go to, retie down these barrels and all this stuff, hit this giant pothole coming out of the turnaround, spit the trailer, busts the pin actually, rips out all the wiring. So we've got to get that figured out. End up driving through like a hellacious rainstorm, get pulled over for pointing out a deer and driving erratically, speeding, all this stuff. No tickets, but it was an adventure up to that point. So get to the cabin. It was literally 2 minutes, and I already had 3 ticks on me. And what I learned from this trip was that those ticks, I hate ticks. I think everybody kind of has that same feeling about ticks. But the next day, I went out, did some turkey hunting, and I had literally over 100 ticks crawling on me. I don't know if I kicked the nest or what happened, but I looked down at one point and my bootlaces were crawling with like 20, 30 ticks. So the more that I saw ticks, the less I was concerned about them. I don't know why. It's just one of those things where if you only see them once in a while, you're really freaked out. But there was tons and tons of ticks. And that was that morning. I posted the video about the call that turkeys don't like when I called in the bear. And pretty interesting. That was the first bear that I've ever seen in the UP. We've got videos of them all over our property, all over the camp, different places. My dad's seen him up there. Other guys have seen him. I've been up there hunting opening day of bow season, and the neighbor right behind us shot one. And you want to talk about being startled, not understanding that it was bear season, and having like a high-powered rifle go off like a couple hundred yards behind you at like prime time on opening day of bow season. Needless to say, I was a bit startled, but so we got a pretty healthy bear population up there. So that was interesting. But the part about it was, I was kind of walking along calling, and I had some birds going in front of me and behind me. And the birds that were behind me were the ones that were gobbling. I had hens out in front of me, right where the bear came from. And, the bear comes in and he's walking along the ridge at about 50 yards, and he turns and comes towards my decoys, and I'm hunting with a bow, no blind. And the decoys are at like 7 yards, and I let him get to about 40. But he was turned 90 degrees coming on a beeline for me, to the decoys. And I wasn't like frightened. I wasn't anything like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. But I did not want the bear to get in there, like thinking he was going to go after these turkeys or something. I don't know. You've seen videos of bobcats and coyotes and things coming into bear, to decoys, and just never a bear. And it never really dawned on me that would happen. And it was kind of a bummer because I had the turkeys going, and I was confident, like I had a pretty good setup. And from the video, like the bear didn't even know I was there. I just stood up and was like, hey bear, hey. So I don't know what most guys would do in that scenario, but that's about where my comfort level was. That said, later on that day, we went out to dinner, turned the corner, and there was another bear on the road, a different bear, smaller bear. So there's a bunch of bear in the area. I've got a video from our camp of a smaller bear and then a humongous, what I would consider a humongous bear. I'll post a video of the trail cam photo, but you see the one smaller bear and you're like, oh, maybe that's a good sized bear, trying to get an idea of how big it is or like what's going on. And then this other one steps into the frame, and if this were deer, that this would 100% be a shooter. But yeah, so we were able to get the blinds. My dad had built the blind. We moved that into place, got the 2 feeders set up on this quick trip, got all of our vitalized seed in the ground, rototilled up. Hopefully we got some rain. After that, we did put up one of the segregation fences, which we've not done in the past. And I think that that's going to be interesting to see because of the amount, we think that we're doing a bad job with the plots, but there is a significant amount of deer that are in there. So to see how that shapes up is going to be pretty cool to see. But we repaired one of the other blinds, went up there, and headed back. And on that, we put out the seed, put out some Lucky Buck, and I had a couple of Tacticam cell cams, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up here. Is that I'm really kind of disappointed. It's kind of on my fault for, not doing the preparation on these cameras. But for Tacticam users, anybody that's used the app, you can turn the cameras on and off. But I had never, and I guess I had updated the app, so everything was all up to date. But I didn't look to see before I left, and the service up there is horrible. What cameras were still in the app. So I had a couple cameras that were still active, and the ones that I wasn't using, I had turned off. Well, they had deleted out of the app. So I put those 2 cameras out there, got back to service, went to activate them, and they're not on there. So I've got 2 cell cameras up that are essentially dumb cameras up in the UP because I can't recall them from the app. So that's pretty frustrating. So anybody that's getting ready to put out any cameras or do anything like that, especially far away or in places that you don't want to go back to anytime soon, or don't plan on going back to anytime soon, just keep that in mind. Make sure that you do all of that before you get out of service or before you leave the cameras, because needless to say that was pretty frustrating. And I guess I should say, we're getting towards the end of turkey season here, but one of the things that's always been cautionary, again, from Frank is birds that come in quiet. And so the last morning before I left, I got up early. I went out and tried to listen for turkeys. Didn't hear anything. So I was just walking and calling, going back to where I had the birds going before. And if you watch that video, there's a blind up on the ridge, and I was just walking down the ridge, and we're talking, this ridge is maybe 150 yards long. So I'm at one end calling, no answer. I'm looking out in the field that's on the neighbor's property to the north of us to try to see if there's any turkeys out there, because that's fully what I expected when the hens were going the day before. And I get to the end of the ridge, and I'm on the north side of the ridge. There's a road on the south side of the ridge. I'm just standing there looking around, hit the call, and these birds gobble. They sounded close, but I did not realize how close they were. So I've got I've got no blind. I've just got my bow. I don't even have a face mask on. I'm just calling, trying to locate some birds. And I got down and I moved maybe 10 yards to try to get next to a stump or something. And those turkeys were literally right on the other side of that ridge and flew away. And I played cat and mouse with them all morning. I walked 2.3 miles on our property in circles, and had them gobbling, got pretty close. And I think just trying to move on them, I think they must have located me or saw me or something. Because, after about 45 minutes of calling back and forth to them, they took off. So that was just one of the things that, there was no way that I would have expected that would have happened, because those birds certainly should have been able to hear my calling from the other end of the ridge. But it was exciting to get on birds, to have birds gobbling, to do all that stuff. No blind, with a bow, see a bear, all that. So we did apply for our bear season up there. The way that my schedule works out, and I think my points will allow me to draw for the second season Not sure if we would have drawn the first season, but looking at my schedule lays out, it's going to work out pretty well. So I don't know anything about bear hunting as far as what constitutes like a large bear population. Like for me, any legal bear is going to be just fine. It's going to be one of those things where it should be pretty cool to kill one off of our own property. You know, nobody's killed one off of there other than like a nuisance bear, like back in the day that was ripping the side off of our shed and all this other stuff. So those things we've never done. We've never been bear hunters up there, but the amount of bears that we're seeing on camera and bears that are around, hopefully we can get some to stick around. But so we've got that coming up. As far as like other tags, other things for the season, myself, other guys that have been on the podcast, Eric and Mark, as well as Jake, drew for Kansas this year. So that was the plan for last year. 2 years ago, we were going to buy a point. That's when I drew and ended up killing this buck behind me. Went out there by myself. So it's going to be nice to be out there with some guys, but we're going to an area we had put in with a different group of guys who had hunted this area in the past, and they did not draw. So it's going to be all new area in Kansas, new terrain, I don't know if it's going to be new tactics. We're pretty well versed in just going in blind and checking it out. And during that time that we're going, I don't know about the other guys, but I think I have like 2 weeks off. So it should be a fun hunt that we have some time to kind of figure things out, not having to stress with any of these like short-term hunts or anything like that. So that planning is underway. And then, so for me this year is Kansas. Hopefully we'll draw a Michigan bear. And then I've got some guys lined up for the podcast to talk bear hunting, bear baiting, and kind of that. And let me know if you guys want to hear about like bears with hounds, because there are some houndsmen that are around here that I can talk to about that. I think it would be interesting to do, but it doesn't really. I don't know. It's bears are weird because you're gonna shoot them over bait, you're gonna shoot them over dogs. Killing one up in Montana last year, or being on that hunt where Tom killed one, and I got to video it, was really cool. But the rest of it, I mean, these are things, and my cousin hunts a UP, a couple hours north of us, and he's done a lot of bear hunting. He's done bear hunting out in Maine with Hal Blood. I think he's gone to Canada a couple times, and he's killed them here in Michigan. And he said he's done it both ways with a guide, as well as going up there and baiting and doing all that stuff. And he said, it's almost cheaper to use a guide because the amount of gas, fuel, the bait, time, all of that stuff that goes into setting up your spot and doing everything that it takes to be successful almost equals the cost of like a guide service. But for us to be able to try to kill one on our own property, my dad put in with me, so that should be fun. And I think if I draw that, I've got somebody to come up there and try to video it for me. So looking forward to that. And then Mark, who I've talked to on here a bunch of times, has invited me to hunt Missouri. So I think I'm going to try and do that as well. So that should be fun. But other than that, no big Western hunts or anything like that. Last year was a lot between Colorado, Montana, and Tennessee. Yeah. Even hard for me to keep track of. So that's kind of like what we've got on the docket. Patreon hunt, we're going to do that the same weekend, Columbus Day weekend, or Indigenous Peoples Day for those that choose to call it by its new moniker. But doing some improvement on the property. Nate Roosevelt and I have built a shed up there to kind of use as like a cook shack, to use, it's big enough to hold a couple of cots and a buddy heater. So really looking forward to that deer camp again this year. And, we have some improvements there on the property for that inclement weather and things that we've been dealing with the last few years. But hopefully we'll get some more bucks on the ground. We're doing some more scouting up there and kind of getting that real good idea of the land and kind of some bulletproof spots up there as far as like deer. But then we're going to try to, hone in on a couple of bucks this year maybe. So who knows? That's early October hunt. But and then of course we've got TAC coming up. So along with TAC, so this weekend that's coming up, the Muskegon Bowman has a 3D shoot and swap meet and everything like that. I've talked about that on previous podcasts on the intros and things like that. But we do have a novelty shot. We are setting up that TAC caribou at 111 yards. It's going to be cash prize, and you just have to hit the caribou to get in. It's going to be like hit the caribou, get a ticket, and then the closer you are to the 10 ring, the more tickets you get for that. So you don't have to be, dialed in like the last guest AJ, where one shot in the 10 at 111. Just it's going to be there for you guys that are considering shooting for the truck to get an idea to kind of set your sight tapes. And then we do have our 3D league starting June 3rd, as well as I think it's the first, because it's the first Monday in June is when our Broadhead League starts. So a Broadhead League, shooting Broadhead, a lot of traditional guys, but guys are using compounds. You can use the trainer mechanicals on these. You're shooting cardboard targets in kind of like real deer hunting scenarios. So it's pretty cool. Again, it's like one of the only ones that's in the state. But TAC, getting ready for TAC, still shooting the Carbon Zion. Been shooting out to 80, shooting okay. Not where I would hope to be, but shooting good enough for what we need to do doing that. And we're going to be at the TAC at Boyne. So we're going to be up there all weekend. Saturday's the cookout. Nate Roosevelt and Nick Otto went out to Oklahoma, shot some wild boar. Nick processed that up for us, so we're going to smoke that up, as well as some regular pulled pork. So we'll have that along with some venison brats and other things that we normally do for that cookout. Boyne is, I don't want to say it's like our home turf, but man, it's really, really, really fun. More targets, I think longer targets, and just our condo setup is way better. We're super close. We'll be right behind the practice range again. Just one of those, feels like home, one of our favorite places to be. So really looking forward to that. And that's coming up again. Like we're going to be there here in, what is it now? 2 weeks. So, but yeah, so that's kind of everything that we've got going on here. Let me know if there's anything that you guys, you want to hear about, things like that. I guess I should say, TAC, right? At the West Virginia TAC, there was an injury. So somebody did get shot, who was pulling arrows. So, those are things that are 100% preventable. Automatically, I thought about one of our Patreons, Carl, who was going to shoot by himself. When we shoot in big groups, we try to make it fun. We try to, not be too serious. It is literally deer camp in June for us. But I just think about that as like a solo guy who's going to shoot a course and go. And I don't know if this guy was solo, if him and all his buddies were pulling arrows or looking for their arrows or whatever. But the next group came up and shot an arrow, and it ended up hitting him and injuring him pretty seriously. So if you're going to shoot while somebody's looking for with your group, while your group is looking for arrows, you need to set somebody out there to, say, hey, we're still looking, and then call clear when you're clear of the target. In addition to that, if you were out there and you were shooting by yourself, you weren't shooting in a group, I would almost say to leave your bow or something leaned up against the target. So when people are looking through those targets with the binos, they'd see something that didn't look right. So that's just like my 2 cents. It's a terrible thing. And it's, you would say that it's 100% preventable, but in all of the years that we've been shooting tack, which I think now is gotta be like almost a decade, I haven't really heard of any injuries or anything like that. And they're putting, 1,000+ shooters on the mountain every day, in however many cities. So you're probably talking close to 1 in a million as far as those kind of injuries. So I wouldn't say that there's anything wrong, but I would say definitely to be extra cautious, especially for you guys who are shooting it for the first time. Just something to be aware of. But with that, like, we're super looking forward to it. I know that John's been shooting. John was out turkey hunting a little bit. Maybe he was just turkey scouting. I'm not sure if he ended up going out, but he's back to normal, and we'll get him on here as soon as the schedules line up a little bit better. But yeah, so that's all I got for this week. Kind of just like a recap. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. We're able to raise a glass for those who are no longer with us, and check in on your buddies who may be having a hard time over this past weekend and this time of year. So, but as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for everything that's allowed us to get to this point, and we appreciate every single one of you. So thanks for listening.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Create stories for life on a Scenic Eclipse Mediterranean voyage. With Scenic, it's more than a journey of a lifetime. It's ultra-luxury cruising along elegant European Rivieras and idyllic Italian coastlines. It's being immersed in the history and culture of glamorous cities, towns, and villages. It's colorful architecture, landscapes, and regional cuisine. Scenic Eclipse, in a class of its own. Book your all-inclusive voyage now and save.